Hello and welcome to a not so awesome review. Today we're taking a look at Future Quest by DC Comics. It is a lot of hanna-barbera cartoons put into like one series and smashed up, and it's pretty darn cool. I grew up in the 90s, and I can't say I know all the characters here. I don't even know if one of these characters was a show first, but yeah, let's just get into it. I mean, the cover here looks really awesome. You got Johnny Quest, we have Birdman, these people with the dinosaur right here, or dinosaur-esque looking thing. It looks familiar, but I cannot say what it's from. We got Space Ghost, and in the back, I have no idea who these people are. I mean, like I said, I grew up in the 90s. A lot of these shows weren't around, I think, like back then. I know Space Ghost kind of was on and off. Johnny Quest was definitely there, but it was getting phased out, especially with The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest, which is the show that I grew up with. That's actually was one of my favorite shows, back when I was little. And, it's actually still a really good show. I watched it on, Amazon Prime, and I did buy the Season 1 DVD. I think the Season 2, or I think it's Season 1 Part 2, whatever they named it, DVD was only available on Amazon, which is the only reason I never bought it. I want it. I'll hopefully get it eventually if it's still available, but that's besides the point. Yeah, so let's just go in with the art first of all, because the art is really good. I mean, you can see it. You can tell that it has kind of the Hanna-Barbera feel to it, but not an exact copy. I mean, it's definitely, I want to say, a little bit more realistic than the cartoon shows. Yeah, I don't know. It's good. It's good. It is. I mean, the detail in like these foresty areas is really good. A lot of comics do like this thing where they'll show, like, they'll make an establishing shot where they're in a forest or a room or something, but when they zoom into the character, they kind of black out their surroundings, and it's a good way to avoid having to, I guess, add a whole bunch of detail to the panel, but here they really don't do that at all, and I think it's nice. It's really nice. Story-wise, it's definitely interesting to see, like, all these characters kind of starting to interact with each other. I mean, it is an issue 1. There isn't much to say. I don't want to spoil anything here. But, the first part of it, something big's going on. Like I said, I don't know if this was a show before. These, like, weird kind of, I want to say, like, Green Lantern / Nova Corps people. I don't remember this being a show. If it was, it looks like it would have been awesome. But, yeah, something big goes down there, and eventually we make it to Earth. And the main focus, at least in this issue, I can't say for the series, because like I said, it is kind of a mashup of different characters. For all we know, next issue could be all focused around a different set of characters with the same story going on. But our main focus is on Johnny Quest, which I think is cool, because that is the show I remember out of all of these the most. Don't get me wrong, I remember Space Ghost, but mostly from Space Ghost Coast to Coast, which was that weird talk show. And Birdman, again, I remember him, but I'm pretty sure he had that Birdman Attorney at Law or something going on, which was another weird nighttime show. Yeah, it's interesting. Basically, the story goes that, after we get this event in the first few issues, which was really cool, Johnny Quest and Race and all of them, what is his dad's name? Benson, right? Benson Quest. They're like detecting these portal openings or something throughout the world, and they kind of know where they're going to be happening, so they're waiting for one to happen. Bad guy shows up, kind of typical, but it's like it's what you would expect. A bad guy shows up wanting to do something bad with whatever's happening with these portals, and we go from there. Really, it's good. I mean, I remember the bad guys from the show slightly. I remember the weird ball thingies, and I can't say much else about it aside from it's good. It's interesting. It's interesting how Birdman, he I'll spoiler alert, he is in this issue, and it's just really weird because I don't remember any of these cartoons having a shared universe before. I could be wrong. Like I said, I grew up in the 90s. For all I know, this was typical. But I'm pretty sure there was no, Birdman crossover with Johnny Quest back in the day. I don't think that happened. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. I will say this though. The story is good. The art is good. But if you're not familiar with the characters, it's still readable. It's still readable. It does help a little bit knowing like who these characters are, but they do a okay job of introducing them. It's not like a great introduction like Johnny Quest and all that. They say their names. They kind of talk a little bit about their background, not too much, but I guess enough to know that their dad like is this researcher and everything. He's like one of the three smartest people in the world. So they do a decent job for new readers, which I would assume a lot of people would be because unless you watch Boomerang, I don't know if even these shows are on Boomerang, but unless you're watching that, I doubt a lot of the younger people right now would even know who most of these characters are. I mean, when I was little, I used to think Space Ghost was like weird Batman without the ears. So there is that. So I don't know, it's really good. I'd give it a 4 out of 5 just based on this one issue. It's something that I definitely would want to keep up on reading and see where it goes. I know DC got licensed to a lot of, I think maybe every Hanna-Barbera cartoon, which is interesting. I believe next week Scooby-Doo Apocalypse comes out, which I'm interested in. The art of it looks interesting, and then we got a new Flintstones and Wacky Races. I think that's about it, but I'm not sure. I have no idea if any of these are going to cross over into each other. That would be interesting, but yeah, I'd say check it out, and definitely if you grew up in the 80s, 70s, if you watch any of these shows, it's probably more suited for you because you'll recognize these characters, and it could be really nostalgic for those kind of people. I mean, it's there for me. The nostalgia is there. Not as much for people, like I said, who grew up watching this. Even for me, like, it's there, but I watched more of the real Adventures of Johnny Quest and Space Ghost Coast to Coast, not Space Ghost, the actual show, which I don't even think I've ever watched a full episode of that. And same thing with Birdman. So, yeah, that's pretty much my review on this Future Quest. It's definitely interesting. I do like where it's going. It wasn't disappointing. It wasn't anything like amazing, but it's it's worth checking out. So that's that, and I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.